It sounds very simple, but Smithy on YouTube asked us a question, which I think actually a lot of people are stressed about. So let's go over that. So Smithy on YouTube says, you guys are so great. So many good tips on your channel. Thank you, Smithy. He says, I'm a bit stressed about arriving in New Zealand. Can you tell me how it is to at the airport, like custom, biosecurities and else, the whole arrival process? That was hard to read. I struggled on this one. Anyway, all right. So, yeah, that's kind of a subject of stress for quite a lot of people. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going to board the plane from, wherever you're from. So, India, France, the UK, USA, and then you're going to land in New Zealand. And then what happens? You're left to your own devices and you're like, oh, what's going on? Okay, so you land in New Zealand. The plane lands safely in New Zealand, probably at the Auckland airport. It's New Zealand's largest airport, and where I think it's something like 96%.
Yeah, most arrivals come into Auckland. So
so then you need to onboard your plane. So don't be the first one to stand up from the in the plane and grab your luggage and just kind of run. Yeah, exactly. The plane goes from front to back. So when it's your turn, you stand up, you take the luggage out, and you'll get out. It won't get you out any faster. We always see people kind of try to rush their way, and it's quite funny how usually you arrive at customs or baggage collection before them, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So the first thing you do is that you onboard the plane. Now the Auckland airport is super well signposted, so there is literally only almost one way to go. You follow the arrows and you start making your way through the airport. It's very, very simple.
Yeah.
Stop at the bathroom if you want to, and then the first thing you're doing is to go to pick up your luggages.
Yeah, is that before?
At the carousel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course you need, because otherwise biosecurity, you don't have that.
I was going to say, I wasn't sure if you go through immigration and customs first, no?
I think, mate.
No, you go through passport control first.
Oh, yeah, here you go. What you say. So then the first step is you go through passport control.
Okay, so after you've gone and followed all the signs, the first thing that you're doing is getting your passport ready, because you're going to be going through immigration and passport control. If you have a passport which is from Europe or from the UK, from Australia, those sort of countries, and you have an e-passport, there is a smart gate at the Auckland airport where it just scans your passport. You look up at a camera and show your bright, shiny face like Robin likes to do, and make everyone laugh at the airport by pulling faces. But you can you look up at this screen and this camera, and it takes a photo of you, and then you just walk on through. The gate will hopefully open if everything's okay with your visa, and if you've got like an automatic visa, or if you're coming on a visitor visa which doesn't need like an extra visa on top of that, then you'll be able to go right through passport control with ease. But if you do have a passport from any other country, or if you're having if you're coming to New Zealand on a bit of a different visa, then you'll have to go and actually talk to one of the immigration officers. There's queues to line up, and just basically you see the immigration officer, they look at your passport and usually ask you a few questions. It might be actually what to declare, because you'll also need to hand over your arrival card, your passenger arrival card, which we'll get onto a bit in the moment. But they just ask you a few simple questions, and usually it's just like, there you go through.
Generally is that. If you do have visas that have some conditions, this is one of their options where they can actually check your conditions. So let's say you're coming in New Zealand on a working holiday visa, which allows you to work and travel in New Zealand. Your visa may have some conditions, like you need to have medical and travel insurance for the length of your stay, or you need to have a minimum amount of money on your bank account, and all those kind of things. So this is when they may ask you your kind of paperwork, but that's pretty much it. So usually you get a guy which has a very stern face and ask you one question, stamp it, move on. Actually, very often you don't even have a stamp. So
stamps are pretty old school now.
I'm sorry.
Actually, they're not really, but I suppose like when you go through the smart gate, they don't exactly stamp your passport then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So once you move from there, then finally you go to luggage pickup.
Yes.
Sorry about that. So once you have done basically kind of the paperwork, you kind of are allowed into New Zealand. Once you're allowed into New Zealand, then you can go through the rest of the formalities, which is picking up your bags and then the rest of the process. So to pick up your bag, you need to find which one is the correct carousel for you. So to find the correct carousel for your bags.
Yeah, so usually they have signage up. Even when you first enter the baggage claim area, there is a big sort of TV screen listing what flights, that have just come in and which number carousel your flight is, where you can collect your baggage. But then along all the baggage area, each carousel has a really well signposted number, and then it says it even on the TV screen for each carousel which flight that carousel is for. So that bit is super easy. Just go over there and wait. There's usually a lot of trolleys and stuff. You know how airports work. There's a lot of luggage trolleys that you can pick up and go and wait for your luggage if you need that.
One thing that you're going to notice is that there is a red line on the floor all around the carousel, so you stay behind it, so people that see their luggage, they have the place to move and go pick up their bags. So just make sure you kind of respect that. And if you miss your luggage as well, it's not too bad. It just goes in a loop and it comes back again.
Yeah.
It happens to us all the time because we're so busy taking pictures or filming or doing this just for all our tips videos, and then we're like, oh no, we just missed the luggage. It just takes another look, and we just always look like the fools. Okay, now you have loaded all your luggages onto your little cart.
Trolley. If you want to take the trolley. I mean, trolleys are not compulsory, but
So, but you put them in the cart because it's much more fun.
Yeah.
So you put them on the cart. You have all your luggages with you, so that's all the possessions that you're gonna have when traveling in New Zealand, and that's your time to pass through biosecurity. And so you're gonna arrive in front of two signs that's gonna say nothing to declare or something to declare.
Yeah, so like Robin says, there's those two aisles that you can walk through. There's also another aisle for like New Zealand passport holders and non-New Zealand passport holders. So obviously you just follow whichever one applies to you. But usually that's more when there have been an influx of flights and it's really busy. But most of the time there's someone waiting at the end just telling you where to walk and where to go. So there's a lot of staff at the airport basically sort of telling you where to go and what to do, so you don't really get lost or anything like that. So after you've queued, is there anything you want to tell us?
I just wanted to say, so about the nothing to declare or something to declare. If you have any doubt, declare it. Honestly, I think there is never a single time when I came back into New Zealand that I did not have something to declare. I never had to surrender any items or anything. Most of the time it was for no reason. So for example, when Nora and I goes to the South Pacific Islands and we always have our own snorkel mask, and we love to do snorkeling and free diving and all of that in the South Pacific. And because it has been in the water and everything like that, despite the fact that we clean them really well, we always declare it. And then they ask us, have you cleaned it? We tell them yes, we use soap and we clean all the gear. Say, okay, that's good, you can pass. But we've declared it. If we don't declare it and then they find it and then they find something wrong with it, then we may have a fine. It's the same for the food. It's the same for for a ton of items actually. In fact, we have a full video about that, about biosecurity in New Zealand. So make sure to check out this video so you know what to declare. But just to make it very clear, any food, any items that have been used for any outdoor activity all need to be declared. So that usually covers almost everything. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. So that declaration process actually begins when you're on the plane and you're given your passenger arrival card, which is a thin piece of cardboard with basically a form to fill out on there. On the front of it, it has spaces for you to fill out your personal details, so your name, your passport number, where you're flying from, all that sort of thing. And then on the back, there's a sort of like tick box multiple answer questions, or whatever you call those things, where it's kind of like yes and no answering questions, like do you have this in your luggage, have you brought with you $10,000 worth of cash with you, that sort of thing, and you just tick yes or no. And it's this form that you actually need to keep with you, and when you go through the biosecurity, which is the step that we're just talking about now, when you actually finally get to the biosecurity officer after you've got your baggage from the baggage claim area, this is the card that you hand over to him, and that's basically what you are declaring. He reads that, and if you ticked yes to any of those questions, then he will ask you more questions on that. But if there has been something that you've forgotten about, that you were like, oh, actually, yes, I do have an apple in my bag or something, this is also your opportunity to verbally declare that to the biosecurity officer. So if when he says, do you have anything to declare? You say, oh, actually, I've packed this, or I've done this, is that okay, type thing. It's always best to just basically, actually say, like, I do have things to declare, even if you're not sure. And even if, for instance, you're unsure, if sometimes you're not allowed to, well, one of the things you need to declare is plant-based products, and you might have, for instance, a wooden hairbrush or something in your bag, like something made out of wood.
A deck of cards is made of paper. We get stuff every single time because we always travel with a deck of cards to play some games, on planes or when you travel. Every single time they stop it, they ask us if we can open. I mean, Laura is going to go through that, but every single time they check our bags because of a deck of cards.
Yeah, so all those sort of even small things that if you're unsure about, you just say like, oh yeah, well, I do have this that's made out of wood, or I do have this, or, so it's always best to declare, because if you are trying to, if it looks like you're trying to hide something or smuggle something through biosecurity, that's when obviously they're going to give you a fine. And if you have something found in your bags that you haven't declared, then it is an instant 400 New Zealand dollar fine. So do bear that in mind. That's not a good start to your holiday. So so this is the part where you're actually the the biosecurity officer is going through the questions with you. Most of the time it's just like, yep, okay, go through type thing. Do you have anything to add about that part?
No, sometimes they just ask, and when you pass your bag into the X-ray and they have a doubt about something, they ask, can I look into the bag? And they just check it. And as I said, usually that's when people start sweating, but it's literally the deck of cards or the wooden toothbrush or just something like that, and it's just as silly as that. Now, so like the thing that people get stopped or the most about is their shoes. So if you do have, the sole of your shoes is dirty, like there's some dirt and everything like that, they will give you a brush and you will have to brush it. But that's basically it. No, not much to add about that.
Yeah, so that actually just brings us to the final step, which is actually just putting your bags through the biosecurity X-rays. So once you've gone past the biosecurity officer, you then have this sort of last X-ray thing to do, where one of the attendants helps you with your bags to put it onto a little bit of a carousel, which puts it into an X-ray. You put all your luggage onto there. That's including any like carry-on luggage or check-in luggage, basically all the bags that you have, you put into the X-ray, and they basically just check with that whether there's anything that's been flagged up, and they might need to check your bags after that. Most of the time they don't. Most of the time, if you've declared everything, they just they just help, they just basically let you on your way, and you go out into the arrivals area of the Auckland airport. But otherwise, if there is any problems, they will just bring you to the side and sort of maybe ask you a few questions or ask to see something in your bag.
Yeah, and then moving on to the last step of your time at the Auckland airport is finding new transport to go wherever you need to go next. So either you have already sorted out a camper van or car rental, and most often they will offer free shuttle pickup from the airport. So then you find a sign of where they are, but they're usually always in the same place, which is a passenger pickup area. Or otherwise, you can take the Sky Bus, which is the bus that goes all the way to Auckland City. You can take the Super Shuttle, which is the shuttle that goes door to door to any addresses in Auckland, which is really fantastic and actually the best value for money. And if you want to catch an Uber, which is really not as cheap as you think in New Zealand, you can get that from also the passenger arrival pickup area. And it's very simple. There is not much else to say about arriving in the Auckland airport, aside from if you decide to do some duty-free shopping, this will be before you pick up your luggages. So that's in the step literally from when you walk from your plane to going to pick up your luggage, and actually even before customs, before immigration. So that's literally just in that section right here. If you want to get yourself some alcohol or some cigarettes, there are signs all over the airport with the current allowance, so you know how much you can actually bring with you. But yeah, if you did find this video super useful, we have plenty more on the channel. And to say thank you for all our hard work, hit the like button. That's always really nice to just, we spend a lot of time helping you guys out.